Welcome back, folks. Long time no see. We are back with another interview. Reason is, by the way, for not seeing me a long time, because after the major, there's been a lot of work coming out. So a lot of casting, not too much time to talk to people. But this one is one that I've been really excited about for quite a long time. A person that I wanted to interview for a while, but now we finally get a comfortable space of time, I guess, a comfortable moment to talk to him. Regali, my friend, for those of you that don't know you, just signed a contract with Entropiq just a week ago. Romanian AWPer, 21 years of age. We're gonna talk about your career, so we're gonna introduce you a little bit more as the conversation goes on. But how are you doing, man? What's up? What's up with Regali's life nowadays?
I'm doing well. I had the small break like after OG benched me. I just played Face It, enjoyed life, starting doing some hobbies. But now I'm back with Entropiq and we're actually practicing really much, like 10 hours maybe a day. I do stay
Sure.
in front of the computer, but I enjoy it.
All right, all right. You said some hobbies, by the way. Before we get you on with the conversation, what type of hobbies we were talking about? Because it's a pretty no. Listen. The reason I'm asking this, it's a really important thing when you're spending so much time in front of the PC, and obviously you know that your teammates probably know that it's something that you're probably talking about with a lot of other gamers. It's really important to have something that you're doing on the side. Otherwise, you're just losing your mind just playing Counter Strike 12 hours a day, right? So what
Yeah.
hobbies were you focusing on?
I mean, I started to focus really much on gym, so now I can
Sure.
have the routine also. Like when I play, when I have the practice days, I still go to the gym, so that's nice. Like it's in my routine,
All
and
right.
yeah, like I played some single player story games, insane on PlayStation. They're pretty nice, and I really wanted to play them for a long time while I was in OG, obviously, but yeah, I got some time.
All right, couldn't combine it. Right, okay, this is a valid answer. We go to the gym, play some single player games. All right. Now though, I want us to focus on, and this is something that I do with all my guests. I want us to focus on the early stages of your career. So, how did you get into playing video games? What was the first video game that you played? Was it straight away Counter Strike, or was there something before that? And how did you get into CS?
Yeah, it was CS 1.6. Like I saw it at my uncle, and then
Hmm.
I got it on my own computer. I believe I was like around 4 years old. I think I have a picture on my phone when that happened. But yeah, like even though I was really small, obviously I played the GTA series and stuff like that. But I always enjoyed multiplayer games. Like also now, as I just said, right? Like I play single player games, but only those with really great story. I don't explore any other games other than multiplayer ones.
Sure, sure. And talk to me about Counter Strike. Then we're not gonna. Obviously, it's interesting to me just to see if you had aspirations to play competitive in any other game, right? Because there's people that have tried League first. There's people that have tried other games first. There's no one that's tried Valorant first and then decided to go CS because those people were well. We're gonna be interviewing those in 20 years probably. But how did you start playing Counter Strike? You said you played 1.6. Was that how old were you at the time? You must have been extremely young because you're 21 now.
Yeah, I believe I was like 4, and then I
Sure.
played a lot of 1.6. I did not play Source, like not that much. My computer couldn't handle it, I believe, back then. And then yeah, like when CS:GO released, obviously I didn't buy it. I
Mm.
was still small, but in 2014 I had it on my account, and then yeah, I just played whenever I wanted to.
All right, all right. Did you catch that moment? Because obviously you're from a Balkan country, but in Romania, even up today, the LAN cafes are a pretty big thing, right? So did you go to LAN cafes with some of your friends? Like, was that a part of you getting to love Counter Strike? Was that a part of the path? Because like, especially in Bulgaria, that was a really famous thing. In Serbia as well, I've talked to Serbian people up until maybe the start of CS:GO, and I know in Romania, it's still something that's quite popular amongst the younger guys.
Yeah, I mean, I did not go to any cafes because in my friend group, somehow, all my life, I had friends that were playing only FIFA,
Sure.
not so much CS. And
All right.
like also in Balkan, like it was more about FIFA.
Mm.
Like it was either FIFA or CS actually.
Okay.
So yeah,
Right. So you were just friends with the people that play. Did you play FIFA yourself? Have you played football?
yeah, a lot of FIFA. Like I think I played every single year until 2020. I think I played every single year, every FIFA I bought.
Okay, then you have great mental for Counter Strike then, because FIFA's another thing when it comes down to your mental training. Okay, so you start playing CS:GO around 2014. You're what? You're 12 back then. When did you start feeling that you're becoming a little bit better? Like when did competition I guess started to arise within your brain that you could actually think to play competitively?
Oof, I think I felt like I was getting better when I made Global Elite, and I was like, I don't know, I think I was 14, like, yeah,
Right.
14 in 2016, obviously. And I made it like with 200 one games, because if you remember in CSGO, you could have seen like when
Yeah.
you made the rank. And I thought, oh, that's pretty good. I worked efficiently, and probably I should switch to Face It because I already knew about Face It.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, in 2017, I think I began playing Face It.
Was it by the way, because this is an interesting thing, were you influenced by some players in your region? Like, did you already know someone that was playing professionally or on a higher level when you decided to start out, or were you just looking at the international side, I guess, of esports? How did you find out about esports is pretty much what I'm asking.
I mean, I always looked up to Simple ever since. No, actually, I'm lying. First player that influenced me was Scream. That was the really, really first one.
Okay, so that was
Um,
your introduction to the professional side of Counter-Strike.
yeah, 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 yeah. The one tap machine, like everywhere, everybody was talking about him. And yeah, so just so I can answer the question where I worked efficiently, right? It's
Mm,
because I saw Scream playing DM, and then I learned pretty quick about that thing, play DM to get better, right? And I
mm,
was really small in the same time. So I was grinding that match as much as Scream did with headshot only, stuff like that. It was
sure.
really fun. So yeah, answering your question, pretty much Scream and then Simple. But that was just before he went to Liquid. Yeah, because the whole hype with Simple, Toxic, Simple, all that stuff, it was popping up on my YouTube,
All
and I
right.
was watching.
All right. Yeah, I'm asking that questions because I'm interested to see how good you were before you actually get to know the professional scene existed. Because for a lot of people, they play the game, they reach level 10, they reach a higher elo, especially some of the younger guys that I've been talking to. And then they say, well, actually, I started following the professional scene after being really good myself. There's not a lot of people that have seen the pro scene early on while still grinding matchmaking, and then deciding while you're a cheeky goal two or whatever, you just decide, you know what, I'm gonna become that person, and they actually become well, nearly as good as that person. So that's the reason I'm asking, and I wanted to ask you as well about the Romanian scene at the time, though, because as we know, in the Balkans is pretty. I don't want to say it's undeveloped, but it's not up to that level. Was there at the time? Do you reckon was there a team or a couple players that you're looking at in the Romanian scene or domestically that you were looking up to, and people that could give you some advice, maybe people that made you believe that as a Romanian you can become a professional player?
Yeah, okay. So I made level 10 in like 2018, I remember. And around then it was all the whole thing on Faceit where every country made its own pro league. Like for example, Romanian Pro League, I believe Bulgarian Pro League,
Yeah,
Polish Pro
yeah,
League, and so on,
yeah.
right? So I grinded through divisions really fast, got to the best division where the Romanian pro players are playing. But in my vision back then, the only pros like really good, right?
Mm,
That I really couldn't fight 1-to-1 like firepower wise. They were Nexus Gaming or no something with X, but I cannot remember. But anyways, two players,
sure.
Xelo and Cosman, like
Hmm.
the one that got to what team? It was
Are you
yeah.
thinking about Zello? If you're thinking about Zello, it's Sprout.
No, no, no.
Okay.
Cosmin back then, like he went to international. Oh, Epsilon, yeah. Like
All
when he
right,
went to
sure.
Epsilon, then I thought, then I was like, okay, if he did it, then every Romanian could do it, right? If
Sure.
if they put work in. So I actually started grinding when I saw this transfer,
Mm.
and yeah, back then Xelo was still really really good at the game. Like people were saying that Xelo is the best player, the best topper, and stuff like that. So I wanted to, yeah, be as good as them.
All right. And what was the reaction? Because you're telling me 2018, about that time. Again, you're what? You're 16.
Hmm.
So you're in that age where I guess you gotta try and balance school and your interests, but you still have a lot of free time. But what was your reaction to your parents actually when you were playing that much Counter Strike per day? Did you go to them and say that you wanted to try and do that as a job, or was there another thing that you were aiming at after potentially finishing off your studies?
Back then in 2018, they didn't even care. But when I actually wanted to commit as being a professional, it was in 2019 when COVID started
Sure.
with this tournament in Romania called Romanian Esports League,
Mm-hmm.
created by the Nexus Media stuff. Um, and it was a big prize pool, like either 10K or 20K, I cannot even remember. Then I played with some friends. Um, yeah, friends that I made on my grinding path, but somehow, like for example, Blitz,
Mm-hmm.
um, Sound as well. They played in different pro Romanian teams, let's say. Like Blitz, I think played for Nexus once.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, in 2019 we played this tournament as a mix, and we got to the final.
Right.
And we played against Nexus, but people like saw me, saw the team, how we developed. And then after that tournament, I think I got into my first team, Game Agents, in 2020. But
Mm-hmm.
my family was really supportive in 2020 because as everybody else saw me develop, also so did my family, right? And
Sure.
they bought me a computer, which I really really needed. Cause yeah, fuck, like until 2020, I had a shit computer. Like, fuck,
Were you
fuck.
one of those people playing on 60 FPS and well, not 60 FPS, but 100 FPS, 60 hertz? Because I remember, I think it's a really good example. Art Frost, who's on Paravision right now, who used to be on Spirit, up until like 2 years ago, he was playing on 60 hertz, like 120 FPS. Were you one of those guys that just go in like 26 average demon on Faceit with 60 hertz?
I mean, yeah, in 2018 I made level 10 with 60 hertz and 100 FPS, and then because I don't know, I didn't know that much about computers, I bought my 144 hertz
Mm,
monitor in 2018, even though my PC could barely handle it, like with
sure.
150 on Mirage and shit.
Yeah.
And I stayed with that shit PC and that monitor until 2020.
Right. So I'm getting your family was really supportive, which is a nice thing to hear. Especially that's a question that obviously it feels like a pretty basic thing to ask now, but especially to Balkan people, I'm asking because we know how Balkan players could be at times, right? Especially when it's coming into esports. Now I guess it's getting a little bit better for the youngsters. But yeah, 2020, we get into game agents time. Uh, Talk to me about the atmosphere at those LAN events in Romania before I start asking you about your teams and stuff. This is really interesting. Did you feel because obviously you say you get to play against Nexus on the stage. This is quite a big thing, right? Nexus is a household name in Romania. Did you feel like the community was, I guess, glued in together? Did you feel like you could, for example, go to BTN and ask him for something? Was everyone friendly towards each other, or were you more of the young guys that want to take our breath one day, so we're not really gonna talk to you, and we're just gonna destroy you in the server?
I mean, in 2020, everybody was friendly. Um, like I was the up and comer, I was new, everybody was nice,
Sure.
kinda. But then when I got into game agents, we really grinded up and we were like second best team in Romania.
Mm.
With some other players, right? Sound again, I played with him a lot.
Played with Smek
Um,
as well, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, it was really friendly until the next Romanian Esports League tournament where we competed with Game Agents in 2021. There it was so much rivalry, I think,
Mm.
between us and Nexus that me, for example, like I just wanted to win, right? I didn't
Sure.
really want to talk to the opponents, let's say, but I was really friendly. Like I'm always friendly, for example, but people were still comparing me and Xelo. Like imagine, like in 2018, I thought Xelo is the best, and in 2021, people were comparing me to Xelo, right?
Yeah.
Who's the better offer? It was pretty crazy, but yeah.
All right, so there was starting to be a little bit of rivalry as you were becoming better. Another thing, by the way, you mentioned the competition with Zello. That surely must have been a motivator, right? The fact that you're being compared to this guy.
Yeah, at first it was, but then I really wanted to grind on my own, and I didn't care that much because at the end of the day, back then they were like playing every day HLTV tournaments when
Sure.
we were not even in the best practice group. Like
Mm.
I knew it was really hard for me to grind with the team or the officials. But yeah, like I tried to play as much Face It as I could.
All right, all right. And another thing, which again, before we get into the team side of things more, did you always play OP? Were you oping from day one?
No, 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 no. When I joined Game Agents, they said we need an OPer, and then I said, yeah, okay, I will be the OPer. So in 2020, I became an OPer.
Right. What were you playing before that, or was it just mixed team? You were just rifling. Like, were you IGLing? Did you have like a specific thing that you wanted to go with, or whatever the team
Oh,
needed?
complete bot. I was just a trader, like second guy pushing.
All right. We don't call that complete bolt. We call that strategically positioning yourself so you're gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna benefit the team by getting kills. All right. Did you find it hard to just transition into a no? By the way, because a lot of people I know, obviously there's a couple of players, but not too many players make that transition later on when they're already a part of a team. I guess there's a couple examples, right? If you want to look at the Danish scene, because obviously we're going to talk about the Danish scene a little bit, you have a Lucky, let's say, who didn't used to be an OPer before, but now is an OPer. So how did you find the transition between being as you said, complete bot to becoming an OPer?
Um, I mean, yeah, in 2020, my idol was already simple, so it was fun for me to watch him play. So that was nice. Like analyzing how to play op was nice.
Right.
Um, then my team was made of friends. It was like they were not bullying me for being bad because they were let let's be honest, like we were all bad back then.
Right.
um, yeah. Um, so that's that. And then yeah, as I said, in 2020 I got my computer, so everything was smooth. So I felt like I could become an opper just because I really enjoyed playing the game. Um, yeah, yeah,
All
that's
right.
all I guess.
That's an interesting thing I wanted to ask you about because you said that your idol was simple. You were watching simple demos. Now, one thing that I remember from back 2020, 2019, one of the main rules that every single coach that I've talked to or every single person I've talked to that had anything to do with either giving their OPer an advice or an OPer themselves would tell me you never watch a simple demo because you're never going to be able to replicate what this guy does. You're watching Device because he plays the correct style of CS. So, what's your take on this one?
I mean, I back then I didn't even know what to watch for in a demo,
Right.
so I was just trying to understand that op should be played aggressively. And yeah, just don't be afraid. And I was basically replicating his picks. That's the only thing I could ever understand, or yeah, back then. So I did, and yeah, then I realized a little bit from the coach I got. He was his name was VTS, like a Portuguese coach. How what to look for in a demo, and then yeah, I did watch Device. Obviously, I think I watched Fallen as well, and my style kind of was adapting, or I created my own style, let's say. Which now, funny enough, all my coaches that I had lately, they said, yeah, you are most likely should still watch Device because you and him like play kind of the same. So
Right, so
yeah, I guess that's that.
simple was your idol, but then you're playing like Device, so you're a
Yeah,
traitor to your idol pretty much. Well,
yeah.
we're gonna note that down. With that being said, though, you tell me that you start playing on game agents. The most interesting thing that I personally find about this lineup is the fact that you know how in let's say Nexus, Infinite, you have those guys like BTN, like Raga, Zello now, I guess, that just get recycled, right? So it's a lot of people that have a lot of experience but have been playing on Romanian teams for a longer time. When you actually formed that Game Agents team, most of you guys were fairly young back then. So did you feel like you had the necessary professionalism, let's say, or did it feel like it was a lot fresher to work in an environment like that? And did you feel like you were missing on the other hand, of course, it could be feeling fresher. But did you feel like you were missing out on having that one really experienced guy in the team to uh, guide you guys in the best way possible?
For us, the guy we had back then, like our first IGL was Mark. It
Yeah,
was like he had more experience than any of us, just because he played in advanced with the Budapest 5.
right.
And yeah, it was enough for us to get the basics, kinda. But yeah, we just played for fun, and the fact that we were strong aimers, I would say, because yeah, face it was life for us. It was enough.
Right. And are you still in contact with some of those guys? Because obviously, for those of our audience that don't know, Sound, who used to play on that team as well, Sound that is still on Nexus, even though there's a lot of rumors that he's going to be joining Nine, and he's been playing a lot of qualifiers with Rouse and a lot of other people recently. So yeah, you still in contact with him?
Yeah, I mean, me and Sound were really tight, tight
All
like that.
right.
We are supposed even to go in on a vacation, but yeah, like I still talk to many of the players that I played with in game agents, and that's really nice.
All right. Yeah, the reason I'm asking this is because after Game Agents, you instantly leave for Fnatic Rising, which I guess is a pretty surprising move. I mean, how was it for you? You just get contacted by Fnatic and they tell you, "Hey, we're making an academy. We want you to be a part of the academy." What was your reaction to that? Having to learn to play on an international team as well, which I would assume at the time would have been something new for you.
Yeah, I mean, they posted that they are creating an academy. I just applied, and I was in disbelief when they contacted
All
me.
right, you applied to the academy,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Because I really wanted to play international. Because, yeah, as I said, I feel like Nexus is the only team that gets invites, the only team from Romania that gets invites to tournaments, and I feel like it's, even though it was fun with the teammates, right? It gets boring or frustrating that you don't get to play officials. So yeah, when I when I got the offer from Fnatic Rising, I instantly accepted. I told my, because in Romania there's nothing like contract, or there was nothing like contracts back then. Like you could just leave.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right. Wasn't there at that point? I guess you're a young guy that gets to play for Fnatic, so that's interesting. Uh, have you ever had it on your mind back then? Obviously, you probably don't anymore, but that you want to make it into Nexus, that you want to play in the best Romanian team, or for you it was whatever. Like, did you care if you would play on a higher level with Romanians around you, or it was either international or Romanian? I just want to get to a higher level.
I wanted to get to an higher level, but I remember I got like BTN had interest in me after those Romanian tournaments, but I had school, right? So I couldn't really play full time like the others did in Nexus,
All right.
and I wasn't going to trade school for Nexus.
Okay. Another thing I'm really interested in, by the way, now we're talking about Fnatic Rising days. What was the like? How did you apply? What was the application for it? Because I've heard some stories, and I know some young Bulgarian players that try out for different academies. I'm not gonna spit out names, but there was people that, for example, they send in applications, and then 40 of them get called in to play 5v5 scrims, and then out of those 5v5 scrims, between like random people that have never played with each other before, they choose who to pick for the academy. Was it the same situation with Fnatic?
No, no. I mean, the analyst of Fnatic, the main team,
Mm,
he got to be IGL for the Rising team, the Academy one,
right.
and uh, I just got in the team instantly, no tryout. And 2 days after I got in the team, he told me, "Hey, you know this we play thing? Like we are going to play
Yeah.
this." And I didn't know anything, and I was really scared that, hey, in 2 days I'm going to play, and it was summer, and I wasn't really in my form because we have vacation. But yeah, it was pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, it probably must have been. We're talking about 2021, 2022 now, but talk to me about your initial adaptation to communicating in English. Did you find it hard to get along, like get on the same page with your teammates, communication wise, in person wise, out of the server? Because obviously, a lot of those academy teams, especially the initial one that you join in, there's a guy from Sweden, a guy from Romania, a guy from Portugal. It was just an insane mix. So did you find it a little bit maybe hard to relax and feel like you're in your comfort zone initially?
No, not really, because back then I was in Denmark, and the way I learned Danish was through English. I was studying English in the same time with Danish, right?
Right.
So speaking English was really really natural for me. And then yeah, the many hours spent in Face It also helped.
Right. Okay. So we play a lot of faces. Like, remember your idea about Denmark, by the way. I'm gonna ask about that because yeah, we're gonna get to Copenhagen Flames in just a little bit. You played that Fnatic in that Fnatic Rising team though, and then I guess that was around the time when your name was starting to get mentioned a little bit more by a couple people, and then you get your shot to be promoted into the Fnatic main team, right? But that was one of the most awkward things one of the most awkward periods in your career, I wanna say, because you get promoted but then you play. I'm just looking at it right now. It's looking hilarious. You play one best of three and two BO1s, and then you're back to the academy. What happened there? Like, how did you get into the main team, and why did you go back into the academy? Was it something that you were aware of was gonna happen? Was it just a deal that you're going in to help them out and play a couple officials, or was there a call out and things just didn't work out?
Um, yeah, I don't really remember which games you are talking about. If it's the one against Copenhagen Flames or the ones against.
Well,
uh,
there's one best of three against Ave, one against Los Reyes, one against Illuminar. It's mainly
Okay.
open qualifiers when we're talking
Yeah.
about Fnatic. You were standing in for other games, but we're talking about the moment that officially you were counted as an original member of the 5-man lineup of Fnatic.
Oh yeah, that's full BS. What happened there? Because I was finishing high school. I had 3 months left, and I said to the management that I won't quit high school because I only have 3 months more.
Sure.
And they said, yeah, that's totally fine. You can join us still. And then they were putting all the faith into me, playing at my best for qualifier for RMR,
Yes.
which we failed, or yeah, they failed with me. Um, but I remember when Same called me and he told me to join, and then I asked him, "But is Brolan going to play, right?" And he said, "Yeah, he's going to play because that was the only player I had kind of contacts with from the main team back then."
Right.
And then when I joined, Brolan is gone. Then
You
I'm like,
you
"Wow,
you went there to play with Pepzor from the academy as well, right?
yeah." But Pepzor
Yeah.
was basically playing instead of Brolan.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, again, Fnatic management at the best, right? And then what happens? They obviously bench me because I couldn't perform, but we didn't have any practice because I was still going to high school.
Right.
And they still wanted me to perform at my best. It was fucking crazy what happened. But the thing that Samuel and Karn, they were telling me to quit school. Well, again, I had only 3 months left. It was insane. Like imagine if I didn't finish high school and they would bench me. Like I think I would have gone insane.
Also, they were trying to actively. They weren't asking you, if you don't mind me asking that question, but they weren't asking you whether you wanted to finish off school. They just came to you and told you that they think it's a better idea for you to quit school. Was that the
Yeah,
case?
they were mentally, yeah,
Wow, wow.
it's insane.
That's you know what? This is the first time I'm hearing of this, and this is crazy. Now, just to give some context, around the time the Fnatic team consisted of yourself, Pebzor, Crims, Alex, and Mezzi. What was the communication like inside of the team? Like, were you getting the same vibe out of the three more experienced guys? Because I would imagine, obviously, it must have felt good to know that you're playing with. Because for those of the guys watching that didn't know, Alex, that was past vitality time, but he was still considered a really good in-game leader. Crims is obviously a legend of the game. Messi's one of the best British players at the time, and he still is. But uh how was playing with them, and like did you feel like they were supporting you in a way, or was it too distant for the amount of time that you were on the main team?
I mean, it felt really nice. The connection, for example, with Maisie, like he was really supportive, for example,
Sure.
and Creams was a nice person as well. I remember like much respect to them, but then the coach and Alex, like I don't think like it was pretty weird.
Yeah, you had a weird dynamic, right?
Yeah,
That's
it was weird.
that I wanted to ask you again about mentally. Obviously, we're not gonna focus on what Fnatic did, why they did it. There's been a lot of discussions about Fnatic management in recent times, so we're not delving down there. But mentally, what was going through your mind the moment that you go into that main team? You finally get the promotion that I'm sure you wanted for such a long time. You get to play with great players, right? You play with one of the biggest legends of the Swedish and like world Counter Strike in Krems. And then only one open qualifier later that you're not able to qualify for the RMR from, you get removed and they put you back into the academy team. What's going through your mind at this point? What are you thinking?
I was just thinking to finish high school with actually great degrees
Sure.
and to enjoy my time with my friends in Denmark while I was still competing at a good level in the academy team. Even though I think I always performed really good in the academy team, while it was really rough on my time schedule. Like I had school from 8 to 4 and from 5 to 10 practice every single day while I was in academy team. So it was insane how much work and effort I put in to make it to the next level. And then yeah, again Fnatic management, right? And that happened, and yeah.
Okay, and after the fact, you joined the academy team. Did you know that you're just staying on the academy until you finish off high school? Like at this point, are you already with the mindset that you're gonna look for another project, or you still have to the back of your mind the possibility of coming back and playing for the main team of Fnatic?
When I finished high school, like I talked to Karn to see where he's going to with the vision and stuff like that, and then
Sure.
I realized that I'm not going to the main team, and then yeah, I accepted the best offer, I would say, after Fnatic Rising, which was Copenhagen Flames.
Yeah, how did that come about, by the way? And now is the time when you talk to me about your involvement with Denmark, because for a lot of people, including myself, that was a bit of a surprise initially. Obviously, after that, I asked a couple people, and I got I got some information that you obviously had something to do with Denmark. But you joined Copenhagen Flames at the time. The Copenhagen Flames roster consists of Rouse, TMB, Bird from Sky, Borup. So I guess you understand maybe the surprise on a lot of people's faces when they just see regali being put in there amongst the four Danes. So how did that come about? And yeah, tell me your story with Denmark in Danish, because apparently you're fluent in Danish as well.
Yeah, I mean, I got the offer. I joined because I knew about Ral's really big repertoire, I would say.
Sure.
Great player. And then Borup again, like always, it was this inner meme in me saying Borup number one with heroic. And then yeah, I heard great stuff about Bird from Sky because he played with Xelo
Mm-hmm.
in Exta before
Yeah.
Copenhagen Flames. Then I was really keen to join to learn how to play the game properly, because to this day I still think that Danish people are playing the best CS.
All right.
So I knew that I'm going into a team where I'm going to learn a lot and play a lot of officials, because for the first time also in my life I was going to play full time.
Right. Yeah. So you could fully dedicate yourself. Could you elaborate on Danish people play the best Counter Strike? What specifically are you talking about?
A lot of team play, um, how to react to stuff, and then I just knew that the Danish style is going to put the AWPer really on a really high note, like
Sure.
in a really good spot, right?
All right, all
Yeah.
right. You didn't feel like you were as an Oprah, because this is an interesting topic, by the way, and it's one that obviously now has changed a little bit with CS2. But back in CS:GO, you didn't get the feeling that you were supposed to be a support turret that just clutches 1v(x)s, and unless you clutch, you're not doing your job. Because nowadays, obviously, the meta is for Oprahs, especially T side, to be a lot more supportive, right? But the Danish stigma has always been, especially back in the time, that people were playing Team Counter Strike and not really trying to highlight one person. You didn't feel that too much?
No, and that's the point, because Bird from Sky was really, yeah, highlight, like putting me into a highlight spot.
Sure.
Uh, like it was insane when like I saw him drop me up and he was playing USP or Glock. It was like insane for me. Like it never happened before.
Okay, and did you have a conversation? Because you mentioned yeah, I mean, Bird from Sky's I love Bird from Sky. I've actually had him for an interview here. He's a lovely fella. He's a unique character. But did you have a chat with Zello, actually asking him about what is it playing with Bird from Sky, what to expect and stuff like that, or did you just accept by proxy, by your opinion? Like, did you consult with Zello before accepting that offer?
No, I did not. Like I wasn't really talking to Xelo
Mm,
back then, but I just watch HLTV. I watch the games, and yeah, I mean, Xelo was kind of supportive, but I figured that it was because he didn't really want to commit to really aggressive stuff. But I also saw the plays he had, and yeah, I knew that I want to play in that team.
all right, all right. And then I guess another thing that you didn't mention too much, but Danish language. Living in Denmark. Tell me the story about this. How did it come about? What happened there? Did you live in Denmark for a couple of years to study or whatever? What was the story?
I moved with my family in 2015.
All right.
And then like the first 2 years, I really did not like the language. Like
Mm,
when you don't like something, it's really hard to do it or to commit to
yeah.
it. But
Du
then
taler dansk?
yeah,
Yeah.
Thailand. Yeah. So I learned the language because in my real life, I realized that this high school is going to be fun, right? Where
Mm,
I was about to go to, HOTX is called. It was something with mathematics and programming, right? And obviously, I knew that I need to learn Danish to understand it, to learn the good stuff I want to in the school.
yeah.
So I started, yeah, learning even more, especially after the 2 years already lived in Denmark, right? Um, and then, yeah, and then I still think Danish language is one of the worst. Like I
Sure.
still don't like it, to be honest. But it was it was really nice in Copenhagen Flames because like I can accept bully and stuff, like friendly banter and stuff like that, and it was funny. But I really did not have to talk that much because at the end of the day, the team was made of four IGLs, right, or three IGLs.
Three IGLs, yeah. TMB Rouse and Bird from Sky.
Yeah, like I really didn't have to talk that much, especially when I had all the plays written. Like, okay, now I do device, and if I was doing device, everybody knew what I'm doing. Like, not that much talking. The hardest thing for me was that I always taught in English first, and then I
Mm-hmm.
was speaking in Danish. Like this is just the way I learned Danish in school, and that was the hardest thing for me. It was always the hardest, but that's
All
the
right.
way I learned it. Mm.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I was gonna ask you about that. Yeah, because I would assume you were communicating fully in Danish, so that's an interesting angle. But uh, I was wondering, did you feel like you were becoming a part of the Danish Counter Strike community while you were there? Because obviously there must have been some logic behind it. Now, if Bird from Sky is approaching you to sign you up to the team, that means that he knows you're in Denmark. He knows that you speak fluent Danish. Was there prior to that experience more chances of you playing with Danes? And like, did you feel like you were becoming a part of the Danish Counter Strike community, of the Danish scene, even before being picked up by the Copenhagen Flames?
Yes and no. Yes, because it's kind of like I was playing with four Danish people. I was playing against other Danish teams, and in my mind back then, I just wanted to win games, 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 and I really was putting insane numbers, even though we were playing against good Danish players.
Sure.
And for my teammates, it was a big thing, maybe, but for me, I just wanted to get better and better. Um, so yeah, yes and no again, because I never felt like I would become a Danish person. So how
Yeah.
can I become a Danish CS player?
Yeah. All
Really
right.
hard, really hard.
Yeah, yeah. The reason I'm asking this is obviously because there's I don't want to say that because obviously the world is really open now and there's different types of people living everywhere. But you know, the stigma is that Danish people have a really specific maybe at times even cocky sense of humor, and they're a little bit colder at times. And then with Balkan people, as you pointed out, there's a lot of friendly banter, everyone's really emotional, everyone's laughing, everyone's well arguing at times and stuff like that. So even on an emotional level, did you find it hard to adapt to playing with 4 days, or was it a swift transition, as you pointed out, just thinking about the game and not really paying attention to anything else?
Uh, yeah, two answers for that is that after 2 months in Copenhagen Flames, I already moved to Romania because Romania is cheaper than Denmark.
Sure.
And with the salary from Copenhagen Flames, it was more obvious to live in Bucharest for me. So yes, I couldn't really hang out with the teammates in real life, and the organization was really small, and they were not doing so many boot camps. So getting to that humor or yeah, humor level, it was really hard as well. But as I told you, or as you already said, right, is the difference between nationalities, and you cannot force it. Like I try to understand the people there, but I won't force anything. And yes, I felt like an outsider, and I
Right.
had this discussion as well about Xantares and the other four in big. I had it with Tizian, and this is how I felt actually in Copenhagen Flames.
Okay, and how do you try to come about with this? Because obviously this could be a little bit tougher. Because at the time, and still though, you're in your early 20s, right? And you join a team with a lot of grown-up men, right? That are completely different than, or you feel like you're completely different to. Was there a person that you felt you were a little bit safer in talking to, and how are you dealing with that type of stuff? Because feeling like the outcast when you're the youngest guy on the team and you're not even from the same country doesn't sound like a fun experience.
I think Borup was the closest one. Um, and yeah, that was the proof when, for example, I got benched and he was the only one that wrote to me.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, like
Okay.
yeah, I mean it was kind of real how close he was compared to the others.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like like look, right, you get benched due to yeah stuff that I didn't like with management and made me not feel good in the team anymore.
Sure.
You get benched and no teammate is writing to you is other than Borup, right? It's like I mean it shows uh, real outsider yeah mood.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine. I can imagine. But I guess after that, I wanted to, because this is an interesting topic, obviously, and it's really unfortunate that this has happened to you a couple times by the time that we're here. Issues with management, but uh, what was your feeling after you parted ways with the team? Because I remember back in the day after you did get benched, that was about the first time I think I actually contacted you to do an interview. But then I was like, I realized it's probably not the right time because you probably weren't in the best mood. You still ended up playing good Counter Strike when you were in Copenhagen Flames, though. And I remember I was having that conversation with a lot of people. A lot of people were talking about that decision looking really strange because they brought in Farley back then, I believe. You were still averaging something like, obviously, we don't want to look at HOTV rating and be like, okay, HOTV rating is the proof that someone's a good player and someone's doing well, right? We don't want to go down there. But it still felt like you were comfortable with the team. It still felt like you were producing a high individual level of play within the team. So after things didn't work out with Copenhagen Flames, did you have any doubts in your individual performance or skill or whatever, or did you just know that this is an issue of not being at the right place and maybe not being the right oper for the team, not being the right man for not even an oper, but just the right person to bond with those guys?
No, I've never had this, and as I can look back in my career, I've always been replaced by mediocre oppers. Like you can see it in Copenhagen Flames, then in Fnatic even like yeah, your fellow countryman came, but he didn't do shit. I mean,
Wow,
that's that.
wow.
I'm
Uh,
not going there, but
yeah.
anyway, I've never seen my skill issue at any point.
Right.
Like there was never a skill issue. In Flames, it happened that if my frustrations get to me because some stuff is not going in my way after if I have to beg for something for too many times, it's a bit weird. And then I try to ask for help and it's not happening. Then you know it's a bit weird. But I'm not going there again. And then yeah, that's I think that's all. But no, I never doubted myself. No.
Sure, sure. And after that, you took a, let's say, 3 month break or so, and then OG approach. So how did that come about? Did it feel like it was a save from Grace? Because at the time, I guess is one of the best offers that you can probably hope for, right, in terms of an organization. But OG itself was a bit of a mess back then with all those roster changes. So how was the early communication? What were the early signs out of OG?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think they showed interest uh, even when I was playing in Copenhagen Flames.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I had a bootcamp in December. Then I talked a lot with Kakafu, which was analyst for
Yeah.
for OG back then, and he was really interesting as a person, but also interested in my work and Bird from Sky's vision. Um, yeah, I was already talking to Flames, like just friendly stuff in real life. It came natural that I accept. Obviously,
Which is
everyone would have
interesting because you
accepted.
didn't get to play with Flames.
Yeah, that's another banger of a story. But anyway, I obviously accepted the invitation to
Mm,
play stand-in Dallas, even though I had from officials for more than a month.
mm.
I still felt ready because after I got benched in Copenhagen Flames, I played Face It every single day. I made a lot of elo and I was focusing on getting better. So yeah, I kept my form and I saw it in Dallas. Like if it wasn't for one shit game, I could have had 120 rating on my first S tier event, which was crazy.
Yeah, do tell about that story with Flames, by the way. Was it again a case of a similar thing to what happened on Fnatic, where you're like, yeah, you're going to be playing with Brolin, yeah, you're going to be playing with Flames, and then you turn up and you're like, well, it's Fasher or it's Keto or whatever.
Yeah, unfortunately it was. I mean, that's my luck, I guess.
All right, but you were on good terms with Flames, and just to clarify for people, by the way, that's about the time that Flames gets picked up by Vitality,
Vitality.
which caught a lot of people off guard because they had just won the major and then they bench Dupree and they bring in Flames. So I guess that was a bit of a surprise. But regardless of Flames not being in there, you still get to play. You still get to play with Nexa, which was for me maybe the highlight of the team because obviously, as we said, that team was a mess. There was so many people going through. Nico coming in after that, being the IGL, not being the IGL, a lot of changes happening. But talk to me about your experience playing with Nexus, because at the time there was still that conversation going on whether he was actually supposed to be removed from G2. In all honesty, so how would you compare your experience playing under him as an IGL in comparison to, let's say, a Bird from Sky?
Uh, I mean, the communication that Nexa had was really good, like really tier one level type shit. But from Sky, I still think to this day is a better IGL than Nexa, I would say. Because again, it's Danish. Like it's the way I like it. It's just the Danish style. I like it.
Right.
Where Nexa is more about himself, like playing his own, being the master of his own role position, and then giving a mid round call and call, but he expects more from the others. While Bird from Sky could have yeah, create or build the whole round. And again, I
Okay.
didn't have to talk that much.
So you prefer your IGL being a little bit more micromanaging and having a really strict idea on how he wants to play rather than giving you the majority of the freedom.
No, but as long as we are all on the same page, I think it's better. And you can make that happen even though the IGL is not micromanaging, but it takes a bit more input from the others. And again,
Sure.
I had three IGLs right in Copenhagen Flames,
Mm.
and Rals and Bird from Sky, they're like similar, like they think the same. Me, I was just following back then. And when I joined OG, yeah, everybody had to give an idea to a round to be won.
Did you feel like you had more responsibility to talk a little bit more? Because obviously you probably had more confidence in yourself after playing on Copenhagen Flames with so many IGLs. But joining OG, because there wasn't obviously, I guess you see Keto who tried to be an IGL and still is right up to this date improving his craft. But did you feel like you had more responsibility to talk, considering you were surrounded by some younger guys as well on the team?
Yeah, way more. Um, and they also next I expected me to talk a lot. But yeah, one of the main reasons I joined OG, first of all, out of many offers I got after Dallas, was because I really wanted to work with Roga and Kakafu.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, really wanted to. And
Sure.
another wish was to play with Flames, but that faded.
Okay, we can focus on Rugga and Kakafu though, because Rugga's been an interesting one, because he's been about a lot of time, and I feel like, at least my take on that, because I've always liked Rugga as a coach. I feel like the really messy situation with OG, with the entire team throughout the couple years, has actually made a lot of people forget how good of a coach Rugga can be. And now a lot of people are realizing that now he's on Astralis and they go out on interviews and everyone on the team is saying that Rugga is a great coach. So how was working with Rugga? How did you feel like your game improved? And was it just in-game input? Did he help you? Did he help you with some advices for maybe being a little more professional, growing up a little bit outside of the server as well, because we know that this is something that coaches like him that are a little bit more experienced like doing with younger players.
Yeah, he made me improve a lot as a player and as a person. He was really nice. We had these debriefs, these player expectations, where I learned a lot from, and I
Sure.
also realized how much I improved, because it's just a easy example, right? For example, I'm playing Copenhagen Flames, right? And Bird from Sky would tell me, Iulian, just go search short, right? And then with Raga, I would learn why I should search, why is it good to do it, when is it good to do it. I would do it myself. Even I would build people like around me when I search short, right? Like this deep understanding of CS um, was helpful, yeah, from Raga and Kakafu for the matter.
Right, right. And I guess this is a really good thing to hear. But OG still, as a team, was a bit wobbly in results, roster changes, and stuff like that. So mentally, did that affect you? The fact that you play a couple officials. Obviously, one of your first bigger events was Cologne, right? And that ended up being the only big LAN tournament that you were able to play with the team. But of course, you played the RMR earlier this year as well, but it didn't go that well. The thing is, did it affect you mentally that you were still stuck in that OG limbo where there's constant roster changes happening all of the time? You're playing mainly online tournaments, things are not going well. Did it feel like you guys were struggling to build up a system when there was so many changes happening all of the time?
Yeah, for me it was really weird. Like um, I played the big LAN in Cologne
Mm,
after 1 month of creating the team, yeah,
yeah.
and then the next LAN I play was also it was maybe in between 6 or months. Uh, I don't even know when Cologne was. That's why I'm struggling a bit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if you want to look at if you want to go for specific dates, Cologne is the end of July,
Okay.
2023. Last year,
Okay.
the end
Then
of July.
imagine the next LAN I play after Cologne was 7 months after, right?
Sure.
And was still 1 month after we made roster change. So again, roster change 1 month after I play LAN and we play Vitality in opening game. And it's weird, right, to play LANs in such a big gap of time, but yet after 1 month of roster change, it's so weird. Um, it felt bad.
It felt bad. That's the description of it. It felt bad. Did you feel like, obviously you said that the coaching staff was good. You had a good connection with Ruga and Kakafu, but uh, surely it must have been a little bit awkward for your mind there, because you're trying to focus on your individual performance, and then in the meantime, as we said, there's changes happening all of the time, and you're stuck with that online limbo. Like, what was the atmosphere inside of the team? Do you feel like, even though things were going badly, let's say, you were at least having fun with the other people on the team, or was it kind of like a sinking ship and everyone realizing that things are not working out?
Yeah, kind of like that. Like I remember we did not really play in October, November. We didn't really practice. Um, Everyone was trying to adjust to CS2, but
Sure.
in his own way, like play with his own friends, try to understand the game, watch some demos of the games that were going. I think it was Sydney. I don't even remember, but doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was Sydney. It was Sydney.
Yeah. So yeah, we did not really practice. It was just weird. Sinking ship is the best description I would say.
Sinking ship is the best description. Well, I guess there's a couple interesting angles to focus on when it comes down to this, because you're saying a sinking ship, but then individually a lot of people were focusing on you, focusing on Heavy God as well. So I wanted to hear your opinion of him too. Was it fun playing alongside him? Because I feel like throughout that entire OG tenure, especially the start of this year, the end of last year, when things were just going absolutely crazy and no one knew what was going on, I guess yourself and Heavy God were the only two shining lights in in the tunnel for a lot of people looking at the team. So was there a nice dynamic in there at least?
Yeah, it was really nice. I mean, first of all, we played only not even 3 months, I guess, but it
Yeah.
was really nice. He's a great player. He has a great mentality, I would say. Um, yeah, we when we met in bootcamp, we instantly knew that we are going to work a lot. And yeah, overall it was nice to have somebody alongside, but unfortunately it was really short. I would say, like, there's this expression that I actually walked the path so others could run. Like, I really feel like this is what happened in OG, and unfortunately, yeah. Um, Now I have to start from zero, I would say, because I was finding my groove towards the end of OG. I remember I played Blast tournament.
Yeah.
After all that frustration of major failing to qualifying to major was gone, kinda. I was trying to improve on my own, getting over it, finding connection with Heavy God, even better. But yeah, management decided that, yeah, failing to qualify to major, um, sh- yeah, like I
Required
was the
changes.
yeah required
Yeah.
changes, yeah, basically.
All right, and then you get benched from OG. Things don't work out there, but then Entropiq comes in with a really interesting project. I want to say because you're looking at the international lineup. Obviously, they had a couple other iterations beforehand, but uh, you guys are looking like an interesting team. Again, you seem to be joining in the wildest teams that no one's ready for. I mean, Copenhagen Flames, you put in Regali. Then out of nowhere, you come into OG, there's Roaster Chaos. And now you're looking at a team that leaves Justizian and Marix. And then you have Fasher and Buzz as well. So how did that come about? Did Tizian contact you? Did he approach you? Because you mentioned his name already.
Niklas, the coach,
All right.
Enkai, he contacted me. I instantly knew that if those two are going to stay, which is Tizian and Enkai,
Mm-hmm.
then I would probably consider the offer. I think I got offers from almost every that tier level. So I
Sure.
don't say tier 2 level, but that tier, whatever
Similar
you call it.
similar level of Entropiq, yeah.
Yeah, I would say. And yeah, at the end of all the offers, I wanted to go with Entropiq, especially when I found out that Buzz is going to join. Again, Danish, see, like, you see where
Mm,
I'm going.
yeah.
Like, I really wanted at least one Danish guy, and
Did you
he
know him
has.
from beforehand or?
Yeah, I mean, I think my my really first game with Danish people was with Buzz, Bird from Sky,
Right.
stuff like that. And Buzz was replaced by Borup, and so does Copenhagen Flames. Gets life.
Okay, so Buzz was originally going to be on that team, but then they picked a Borup instead of him.
Yeah.
Right, didn't know that. No. And what was your initial reaction on the other guys? So you're loving Tizian being on the team. You're loving NKJ. You like Buzz. Then they tell you you're going to be playing with Fashion Marks as well. Any takes on that? How things have been so far?
I mean, I knew about both. I knew about Marix because, again, I'm really tight with sound, tight like that again. And he
Sure.
played in OG Academy with
Yeah.
Marix. I found, like, I heard great stuff about Marix, both from sound and from TZ. And yeah, Fasher, like, I knew him from OG.
Okay. And for those of our audience again that don't know, you're yet to play your first HLTV official with the new team. So I guess it's really early for you to give me a a nice description on what you think about the team. But so far, tell me about the dynamic of the team. You know, now you've played with a couple different IGLs, right? You've played with Keto as an IGL, you played with Nexa, you played with Bird from Sky. Now you're playing with Tizian. Uh, Again, how is Tizian different? Like, are you seeing a certain, let's say, German Tapson slash Go B approach to him, or
He's
is
he's going that way, strong.
really
Yeah, I mean, he's going that way. He's not really micromanaging or really demanding or stuff. Obviously, he really expects everybody to hit their nades, and because he's German. And we have a lot of tactics, but they are written down, and the coach is making sure that we know what to use. But in the same time, he's giving a lot of freedom. This dizzy guy to
okay?
everybody.
Okay, he's given he's given a lot of freedom. All right, so I'm getting the atmosphere on the team is good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, it's fine. I really hope that things are gonna work out for you. And I feel like I actually feel a little bit sad at the end of the interview because a lot of unfortunate things have happened. And this is a question that I wanted to ask you. Obviously, it's probably not the best to ask it before a new team starts, but maybe this is a new chapter. But there has been a lot of unfortunate events in your career. When you think about the ways that things have not been working with so many of the teams that you've been a part of, which again, it's really sad to say, but have you had some time between OG and Entropiq to maybe think about that? And is it something that has been reoccurring? Like, have you had any what I want to say is, have you doubted yourself in the way that you're trying to make the connection and actually finding out why all of those things have happened to you previously on other teams? Because I guess it could be human for that to get under your skin a little bit.
Yeah, but this is happening not because, again, not because of the games I played or the skill issue. Because, for example, the reason I got replaced in OG, the reason given was that bad performance on LAN. But then I
Sure,
check HLTV, yeah, and I see the explanation for myself, which I'm fine with. Like, again, LAN tournaments 1 month after roster changes, opening games against Vitality, losing 13-0. What can I do? What can I possibly do?
sure,
Me as a person, which I'm emotional, and yes, after so much time where you don't play LAN, no matter what, no matter the player, I swear to God, everybody is going to be nervous. I remember, yes, I'm also a fan of Device. I remember when he came back from the break, he also said that he was nervous as he was playing his really first game
mm,
in Astralis. So it's natural to be nervous, and I accepted it compared to the others in the brief, which, like, there were some people that said in OG that they said they were not nervous. Uh, Like, when I hear hypocrisy that loud, it's like I just laugh. I have an
mm.
inner laugh. But anyway, um, yeah, I doubted myself until the point where I check the stats. Yes, they don't look great on land performance, as the reason was given, but I think nobody could have done more.
Okay, so
Uh,
you feel like you did as much as you could have, considering the circumstances that you were in, pretty much.
yeah, I mean, I also played the first LAN, right? On CS2, so obviously it's a bit harder for an opper to get used to the first official game on CS2. And
Sure.
unfortunately for me, it was in Blast. For others, maybe it was Sydney, where people did not care that much.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, RMR, it is what it is, I guess. Yes, maybe I played bad. Maybe I could have done more there, but it's also high level of stress and anxiety. And I feel like every player in OG is really emotional as well. Is there's not a player. I'm not There's not a player like Donk. Now I'm going into extremities, right? But
Sure.
there's not a player like Donk that is like a monster that is going to destroy the opponents, and you just look at him and you get this aura like, yeah, man, this guy is fearless. I'm going to be fearless as well. No, I feel like in OG, if you are like in your own bubble, uh, kind of everybody is in his own bubble. So there's not a person that is going to take you out and push you to be good, because everybody
Sure.
was struggling with his own bubble.
All
Like,
right.
I cannot find a better explanation, but
No,
I
no, I
think this
get you.
is
I
what.
get you.
Yeah, yeah,
So I guess now, do you feel like, obviously again it's too early, but do you feel like there's that type of a person on your team now? Because this is a big issue, and that's one of the reasons that we've had those conversations alongside the years of players saying that at times they want the coach to be, even if he's not as tactically sound, they want him to be a bit more emotional, and they want him to be able to deal with the players and the mood within the team, because this is a really important thing, and a lot of people don't realize that, right? Especially when things are not going well for the team. And as you pointed out, individually everyone is in his own head and his own troubles and thinking about his performance and whatnot. It could be really difficult to find that one person that has the strength to think about himself and think about the one standing next to him and the one standing to his right, left, and the ones on the end of the row. So do you feel like there's a different dynamic now on Entropiq, even though again it's been that early?
yeah. I feel like Tizian is this so much experience. Like, he has so much experience, and he's also like going in first. You just follow him. The way he talks, he never changes his tone. No matter the score, no matter the opponents, he's a great guy to follow and to play every round properly. I would say, because also, for example, again, roster change, right, in OG.
Mm,
1 month before RMR and stuff like that, Keto needs to be IGL. Like,
yeah.
what's what is this? But anyway, back to Entropiq. Yeah, so TZ and Marix, I think he's really confident and he can have a really bad score. He plays the same, he talks the same. Kinda also Fiku. Like I give praise to player that deserves that. Like
Mm.
Fiku, he could have had like 0 with 20. He would talk the same.
All right, all right. Yeah, this is an important thing. This is something that we've heard from a lot of players. The fact that it's actually a skill to be going for not only talking the same, but talking the same, acting the same, playing the situations the same way, no matter whether you're 0 and 20 or 20 and 0, right? Just
Yeah.
making the correct decision and the right decision. The reason I ask you that, I wanted to finish it on a positive note, and then just for a bit of a, because I'm doing, I don't want to call it a mini game, but it's like it's a dumb thing that we can do in the end of this. But I want you to try and list me from number 5 to number 1 the 5 best opers in CS2 according to you.
Okay. First is Monesi.
Sure.
Then second, yeah, I'm saying Zaivu. Like maybe he's not an Oper, maybe hybrid, but I still think it's like there. And then third, um, I think Shiro.
Right.
Like it's his own style. This is a player that you could watch and not replicate. For example, compared to the thing that you said about Simple in the really
Right.
beginning. Then yeah, fourth. Well, I don't really know.
That's where it gets
Like
hard, doesn't it? I mean, Modesty, and Zai were the obvious choices, my friend. It gets harder when you get into the fourth and fifth.
yeah, because I still think that is not really a Opera game anymore. But um, fourth, let's put Device, right. Like
Sure.
I still watch him. I still watch Device, and fifth is the hardest because look, Mouse is performing so good, but I have not watched any game yet. So I'd probably say. Oh no, fuck! I forgot about Brokey. Okay, I'll
I,
just say
I was
Brokey.
thinking, by the way, I was like,
Yeah.
is intentionally dodging a bullet here? Like,
No,
I'm not
no,
gonna, I'm not gonna mention the name for him just to go. Yeah, I didn't want to say Brokey.
no. I'm so like I watched demos of him today, but I don't know why it didn't come. Yeah,
Okay,
Brokey
okay.
was.
And as a final one, because this is a fun little one, but you mentioned it's not an OP game anymore. Obviously, all of us are seeing the change that OPers or T sides, especially, just becoming support turrets, pretty much. And you need to be good with it. Like there's still a couple wild people in tier 2, tier 3 that are doing their own thing. Like JW is still doing his own thing, right? He's still running it first. How do you feel about that change, by the way? Did you have you actually thought about switching to a rifle at any point, or you're alright with the style shift?
Uh, I'll try to figure
Adapt?
out
Yeah.
ways to play the op. Yeah, yeah.
Mm. All right, all right. So you're happy with it. Okay. You know what you're saying. You know what you're saying. All right. So I guess this is a good moment to end it. I mean, I would have loved to have some early officials of Entropiq so I can ask you about a couple things there, but you know what? It's too early. We're going to give you some time. I really appreciate you coming over. It's been a pleasure. It was really fun talking to you, and it's kind of like a personal thing here, which I don't usually do, but I think I've always been interested to have that conversation because I think you've had one of the bumpiest roles in tier 2 possible. But what I like, and I wanted to make sure of it at the end of that interview, I really like the fact that you're trying to be heads up and just accepting reality and what's going on, and you just keep on, keep on, keep on. And what I want to tell you here, brother, I really believe things are gonna work out. So keep on working. I'm gonna be holding my fingers crossed, so to speak. And again, yeah, ladies and gents, thank you for being with us. Hope you enjoyed this one. Go and follow Regali on Twitter. Of course, his handle is going to be down below. And follow the Entropiq games because, yeah, I mean, it has been a wild one. You better believe that they will be playing some wild ass tier 2 and tier 3 Counter Strike in the next couple of months, but it's going to be entertaining. And this fella is going to be playing his heart out. I'm pretty certain. But yeah, thank you for being with us. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you again really, really soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. See you.